Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? You know, regardless of who's played quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, one gigantic question surrounding this team all year has been who is catching the football. You know, coming into this year, we looked at knowing you had your first two. I mean, this was a conversation we had all throughout the offseason and training camp. I mean, all throughout the offseason. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, everybody felt good about those two. And then it was like, okay, well, who's next? And we talked about A.T. Perry maybe making a big step in year two. And they drafted Bub Means out of Pitt. But the only free agents they went and signed were guys like Cedric Wilson and Equanimous St. Brown. It was like scraping the bottom of the barrel, and you're going, man, I guess you could get productivity in the pass game out of Kamara and Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau. And so that's an extension. I mean, those are receptions, and it's part of your pass game. But as far as wide receiver, after your first two, I mean, this was the conversation we were having in July. Back in the draft, we were having this conversation. And we're still having that conversation. Especially because your first two guys are out. Shaheed's done for the year, and Olave's likely done for the year, and who knows what his future holds. I mean, if you looked at the Saints pass catchers this year, I'll get to that in a second. But all this to say, the Miami Dolphins waived Odell Beckham on Friday. And so he is available for any team to claim. So teams can put a waiver claim in, and obviously the team who's the lowest in the standings, who puts in a waiver claim for Beckham, will be awarded him. If he clears waivers, meaning nobody puts in a waiver claim, he's a free agent and is free to sign with anybody. And I do think New Orleans should sign Odell Beckham. Now, I did not think that in the offseason when Beckham was a free agent, because we had this conversation. Now, last year, before we went to the Ravens, we talked about this as a possibility. And he was coming off an ACL, and it might have made sense at the time to kick the tires because you still weren't sure what you had in Rashid Shaheed. But you did have Michael Thomas coming off an injury and didn't know what to expect, and it didn't make a ton of sense. Right now, I don't know that there is ever a situation where it would make more sense for the Saints to bring in Odell Beckham. Now, let me be very clear before I go a step further. I ain't expecting 2014 Odell Beckham. I'm not expecting NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year Odell Beckham. I'm not expecting the guy that signed the richest receiver contract ever, Odell Beckham. I'm not expecting the Sunday Night Football three-finger grab against Dallas Odell Beckham. I know what 32-year-old Odell Beckham is and what he isn't. But I also know that Marquez Valdes-Scantling could barely get a target in Buffalo, was sitting on his couch. The Saints called him, and sans any better option, Marquez Valdes-Scantling right now is your leading receiver among active pass catchers for New Orleans. Among receivers, let me put it that way. With Olave and Shaheed out, Marquez Valdes-Scantling has 12 catches for 288 yards. So just receivers. Olave, Shaheed. Next is MVS. After that, it's Cedric Wilson, who's got 13 catches for $159. Bub Means with 9 for 118. Y'all, last week, the receivers that are active for the Saints were Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Cedric Wilson, Kevin Austin, and Dante Pettis. What are we talking about? You mean to tell me Odell, even at 32, can't get out there, run around, get a few targets, and make a few plays? I don't need him to be an 8, 10, 12 target a game guy. I don't need him to be what Malik Neighbors is for the Giants. I don't need him to be what Marquez Valdes-Scantling is for the Saints. I just need a competent guy that's been a productive receiver in the NFL that can be plug and play and maybe help a young quarterback with Derek Carr out. Yeah. And oh, by the way, it ain't going to cost you nothing. You don't have to trade for him, so you don't have to give up an asset. And you can give him a veteran minimum contract with no guarantees. And as all of us continue to watch this team play out the string, because they ain't going to the playoffs, it would be awesome to see Odell come back to New Orleans and play for the home team and put on the black and gold. Why not? The same reason we got excited with Tyron and with Jarvis and with Foster Moreau, and every time we see an LSU guy, especially guys from New Orleans. Odell played at Newman. Dude's from New Orleans. Yes, bring him home. Yes, sign Odell Beckham. Because you've got absolutely nothing to lose. If he stinks after one game, cut him. No guarantees, not going to cost you anything, not going to cost you assets to get him. Yes. I mean, I'm looking at the rest of the free agent receivers out there right now that are available. Hunter Renfrow, never signed with the team. I mean, there were talks about the Saints trading for Hunter Renfrow because of the relationship with Derek Carr. He's still a free agent. Tim Patrick, Russell Gage, Chase Claypool. I mean, these are the notable free agent wide receivers that aren't currently with the team. And Odell is at the top of that list with Hunter Renfrow. So I'd ask you this. Next week, when the Saints go to Green Bay, who would you rather running out there with the first offense? Cedric Wilson or Odell Beckham? Both are veteran players whose best days are behind them, but at their best, Odell was the best receiver in the NFL. Cedric Wilson was never more than a body. I'm not being disrespectful. He's still playing in the NFL. By definition of the fact that you played in the NFL, you are elite of the elite in the world, walking the face of planet Earth. But what are we talking about? This, and it's not just, LSU guy wants the LSU guy to come home, because I'm not always in favor of that. In this instance, absolutely get me Odell Beckham. Absolutely get me anybody that has any degree of competency, skins on the wall, and ability left to help this offense be whatever it might be down the stretch. Listen, if Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed were still healthy, I would not be sitting here telling you the same thing, because I don't believe that Odell wants to go somewhere and just be a body, be somebody's fourth or fifth receiver. But right now, if you're going to tell me Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who a month ago was unemployed, is the Saints' best receiver, then you better believe you could put Odell Beckham to use. But in Miami, that's just not realistic. In Miami, all he was ever going to be was a body. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill there. You got Jalen Waddle there. I mean, at best he was ever going to be was their number 3. Incidentally, he wears number 3. I digress. Yes, yes, the Saints should sign Odell Beckham, and I don't even think it's that hard of a decision. Any competent receiver who can be better than, potentially better than, again, no guarantees, potentially better than Cedric Wilson, Kevin Austin, or Dante Pettis, yes. And the added benefit of bringing Odell Beckham back to New Orleans to get some degree of interest and intrigue and excitement around this team for the fan base as they play out the stretch in the final 3 games, yes, I would like to see the Saints sign Odell Beckham. But does Odell Beckham want to sign with the Saints? That might be an even better question. If he clears waivers and is a free agent, I mean, he may go ring chase. See if a contending team might want to sign him to I don't know if he's got practice squad availability left, but that might be a more attractive offer or option. Or maybe comes and finishes it out here in his own town. We'll see. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.